But yeah, I mean, acting. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, at this point, like, my mouth is full of everyone's dick anyway. I can't really talk much. Yeah. Well, who sips whiskey like that? Is this a fucking Red Robin kids cup? Welcome into the Bro 4 Squad podcast. We're just a bunch of bros drinking beer, slurping on whiskey like it's a Slurpee from 7-Eleven, and talking TV and movies. This is our review of True Detective season.
Say that seven times fast, Jeff.
I'd rather not.
Okay.
True Detective season 3, episode 7, titled The Final Country. Again, thank you guys for checking us out. I'm your host, Jeff Hornacek. With me is our enforcer in the paint, Matt Geiger, some phantom ghost coughing, and the American hero, Nate Thurmond. Here to review this episode like we do all of our TV episodes on the 4 Bro 4 Squad criteria, trademarked, so don't even fucking think about it, which is the acting, the story, our favorite scene, and any theories going forward. So, Nate Thurmond, the American hero, let's toss it to you first, and I have a feeling we'll run through this pretty quick because we've been singing its praises all season and not much has changed. Acting and performances, who or what stood out, positive or negative for you in season 3, episode 7 of True Detective?
I thought Tom or Scoot McNairy did a really good job of acting dead.
He killed it.
Oh.
Have a good night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Pun intended.
Subscribe to us on I'm just kidding.
There it is. Like you said, I mean, it's pretty much like beating a dead horse at this moment in the season. All the acting across the board is pretty great. There wasn't
Which makes me want to go back more and more to that priest in episode 3. That guy sucked.
He did. He brought nothing to the table. He was really dry. It seemed like he had a cock up his ass the whole time.
How is a priest like that going to seduce a young boy with that little charisma?
I don't know. That's really what he needs to work on because that's what they were implying, and he was not selling it at all.
He was kind of like the Domino's guy in
jump to in this episode, but acting was great as always.
Geiger, you I think are on the same boat. Been singing the praises all season. One of the biggest strengths we think in the show. What stood out to you from this episode?
Yeah, man, acting. Yeah, cool. Good job.
It's so cool how you don't fucking care about anything. Have I mentioned that to you?
Completely over the show, but let's just keep rolling.
Okay. I think you're overcorrecting. There's some things you liked. I'll just say this. I saw someone, obviously in reference to season 1 of this show, but they tweeted the Dorfaissance, the reconnaissance that took place around season 1. This is Stephen Dorff's coming out party, and it is happening with a bang. We're talking strippers coming out of a cake. T-Pain is probably there, and MTV's My Sweet 16 is filming it because this dude has arrived. I know he's been in nothing of note that I really remembered him from, but if you're his agent right now, you better have some shit fucking lined up for him because this guy is punching way above his weight, and you need to capitalize on this right now.
Yeah, he's mean mugging the shit out of everyone in the show, and I'm loving it.
It's just incredible.
Do you know who it reminds me of? Is like a Thomas Jane.
Except probably less weird. This is a bit of a digression, but I read somewhere that Thomas Jane goes everywhere in public barefoot.
God, that's awesome. I want to be super famous so I can just do weird shit like that.
So it'll be a story.
Yeah, you have to accept it. I'm famous.
As long as Steven Dorff doesn't do that, I think he's already got a leg up on Thomas Jane. All right, on to story and plot. We might have a little bit to get into here. I'll do a quick, again, this is obviously spoilers as hell, based on Nate Thurmond's open that Tom Purcell was dead. That shit in the episode. But if you're listening to this, you've already seen the episode. And if you haven't, I mean, I don't really fucking feel bad. Like, what do you want us to do? So quick bullet points here. Tom Purcell's death. We learned that Lucy had contact with Harris James. And by contact, I mean Harris James probably fucking killed her in Vegas. Either that or he's really unlucky in terms of when he was there. And that's saying unlucky by the curve with which I grade people in Las Vegas. And then the last thing, the Hoyt ending, of course. Hoyt, who maybe I won't say who he's voiced by because that could be the actor portraying him. But Hoyt calls up Mahershala Ali and basically says, yeah, you need to get in the car with me because I know what the fuck happened. So, Geiger, we'll go to you first. Story and plot, what were your thoughts?
They've just been playing with my dick for like 7 weeks, and they haven't given me anything. In my opinion,
just ask me what you'd like me to do.
Is Alexa? What does her fucking do?
I don't know what you said. I think you talking about dick and balls. Really,
is Alexa gonna finish me off? Because I've had a hard on for fucking 8 weeks because of this goddamn show, and it won't give me anything. Now, if the story, I'm supposed to be afraid of some old guy named fucking Hoyt that runs a chicken farm that I still haven't seen, and you're just gonna save it till the finale. Other than that, I think it's very well acted, very well casted. I think it's very well scripted. But the whole story, they needed to follow up on. They got about 8 questions they haven't answered yet. They should have ended about 2 of those on this episode or the episode previously, and they're just leaving it all toward the finale. And that's a lot. That's a lot to bet on, in my opinion. But other than that, this episode was just like any of the other episodes. It's basically just character development, plot development.
Yeah. Geiger, I was gonna maybe save this for theories, but I think it fits well into story and plot. So a lot of the questions you have, and we can address those specifically in the theories portion, but if they do get answered in the finale, will this show still be able to right the ship with you? Or has the pacing frustrated you so much to the point where you're just like, dude, I don't know, man. You've played with me too long. Even if you fix it in the end, it's not going to work.
I don't want to fuck it up for any of our fans that are actually enjoying the show. That's fine. I'm just saying that in a good show, they have about 7 to 8 questions they need answered, but by the finale they've already answered 2 or 3 of them. Some of the questions that still need to be answered: what happened to his wife, what happened to his daughter, apparently she went to college, why does Roland act so fucking weird whenever he comes close to closing the case? I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but
we'll get to all this in theory.
Show me what happened at the Devil's Den that night. The kids are being taken. There's like 28 fucking timelines going on right now. You can show these. It's not like out of character for you to go to a flashback scene and show these. Why Julie? I think we think that it's Hoyt's daughter. We think if it's just because it's Hoyt's daughter, that's going to piss me off if that's the big twist. Why they kill her brother? Why did Scoot see the pink room? What did he see in the pink room when he saw Julie? Was it Julie? Was it a picture of Julie? How did Scoot die? I mean, he probably died in the pink room. I mean, he probably died. I mean, that guy probably killed him, but is he gay? Like, what's all that about? And then the fucking dolls. Like, we still haven't answered shit about the dolls. All this shit has to be answered in the finale, guys. All of this has to be answered.
We'll address that in theories a little bit, but I'm laughing because the way you said, how'd he die? Is he gay? Like, being gay is what could have killed him.
Yeah. He could have, I mean, like, I'm gay. I'm going to die tomorrow.
I have a case of being gay. Like, that's what did it. Nate, what were your thoughts on the story?
The most frustrating part is that they're just giving you these little breadcrumbs, and it's not enough to really keep you going.
Breadcrumbs aren't a meal. That's a saying we should have on the Pro Force Squad.
Give me some meat.
Breadcrumbs aren't a meal. Show.
So there's still some meat left on the bone, and they're not given to me fast enough. And you can turn that sexual however you want. But yeah, it starts off with the opening scene with Rebecca being taken to college from him.
Which is like seems so like minutia, but they don't do that shit for no reason. They're teasing us like, oh, you thought she died as a kid. Hence the fucking Walmart scene we talked about earlier in the show, which seemed cool at the time. Yeah. But now I'm even kind of with Geiger. I'm like, okay, how much are you gonna fuck with us?
But yeah, it's like they still have to answer that. They still have to answer what happened to Amelia. And there's so many things that they're going to have to cram a shit ton into this. And I'm still scrambling to see how, since they're being so secretive about what happened to Rebecca, like how this ties in and how it's relevant to the whole thing. It may be some cryptic thing to be like, oh, this is why he is how he is. But
how would it be one of the stupidest things in any medium ever if she really does just live in California? Like,
yes, that would be
like she's not dead. She just actually moved out to the West Coast.
All I'm saying, just so I don't get hate comments, is that that's just so much pressure to put on a finale. And And a series isn't about just the finale. Obviously, the finale has to be good. The first episode has to draw you in. But somewhere in the middle or to the 75% end of any series, there needs to be a big what the fuck moment. I just didn't feel if you think the Pink Room is that, okay, more power to you. I was just like, okay, cool. I mean, I have way more bigger questions to be answered than this, and that's just a lot of pressure to put on the finale. And like you said, I don't know if they can stick that all fucking in.
That's what she said.
Yeah, there's like a few things that I don't know if they're giving these to the audience to make them feel like, oh, these are big reveals. Like obviously in this last episode, Harris James died. I kind of pieced that together from Roland and Hayes talking before that they killed Harris James. We already knew that Hoyt came and talked to Hayes a day after what happened because he said it in episode 5 or so. That he said, "Hey, Hoyt came to me a day after it happened." That was found through mine and Hornacek's dissection of the episodes drunk at 2:00 in the morning.
We were like fucking John Gruden in his basement with one of those like soon-to-be rookies in the NFL draft. That was
a deep.
I love this guy Thurman. I really think he's the one that took the kids.
If Roland says Spider 2, why banana to Harris James, which limb do they rip off first?
Let's go to the tape. But yeah, they're giving us like little things, but it's like things that the audience has probably pieced together and found out by now. So I hope that's not their idea of revealing anything to us because it's kind of childish at this point. But yeah, we've still got the black guy with the cloudy eye.
Does it work? Who knows?
Yeah, we don't know. Who is now Watts / Mr. June, I guess, is what the connection is here, which may play into the Mary July thing with the June last name that Julie would call herself.
I have a quick question about that. I don't know if anyone else picked up on this. So in, I believe it's like 83, 84, when they go investigate that guy, was he currently working for Hoyt at that time? Or are we unsure?
When they interview the black guy with the eye?
In the trailer, yeah. And there's the...
I'm not sure.
Okay.
But I think he was working for him then, I don't think.
Because in 90, he clearly has some affinity for the Hoyts or need to defend them because he shows up at Amelia's book signing and just loses his shit.
So through some research and the help of Miss Thurman, I think we found out that actually that guy that they interviewed in the 80s timeline and the guy who came up to Amelia at her book reading are two different guys.
What?
Yeah, so...
Okay, that's really fucking stupid.
See, I thought that too.
If you go back and look,
the guy who interviewed...
Same. Yeah, so he has the name Watts, which they reveal.
Well, that's racist.
Yeah, the guy who came up to Amelia. But he has a different name when they interview him back in the day, so I think it's actually two different guys. Because they also say that there's lots of guys with different scars and things on their face, so...
Dude, isn't that crazy? I actually thought that, like, when I saw that, but I didn't want to bring it up to you guys because I thought I'd just get booed out of the fucking pod. Like, you're an idiot. And you think, but I thought they were two different guys. It does look
so
like
I think that plays into that. That's one of the guys who's looking for Julie in the 90s, and that's why he says to Amelia, you know where she's at, and blah, blah, blah. So I digress.
Interesting. I'm going to have to marinate on that one. One thing I want to ask, because Geiger and I talked about this off pod earlier today, as far as the teasing of us and elongating things that we eventually figure out on our own, and then it kind of takes the punch out of any reveal.
Yep.
So when I watched season 1, which I think is much more comparable to this season than season 2 is, mainly because season 2 is dog shit. I watched season 1. I binged it. It had already come out. I watched it on, I believe, HBO Go. And so I was just able to watch like 4 episodes in a day, 2 episodes. So that whole process of like, number one, being teased for a week and building up expectation for a reveal that lets you down always sucks. But then also like we have a week to research theories with the rest of the internet. When you binge a show, you can't do that. Geiger, I'll go to you first. Do you think that viewing experience now where we're waiting week to week is hurting the show in the sense that like we build up suspense, we build up reveals, and we can figure things out before they show them to us? Or do you not really think that matters? The show should still be able to pack the same punch.
I had a weird moment where, anybody that has a relationship that just isn't going right, and you finally look in the mirror and you feel maybe it's you. Maybe it is me, because the first season I binged and finished probably in a day and a half. So when Jeff said, well, actually the finale wasn't that, I was like, I thought the finale is when they killed the guy. I couldn't remember because the finale to me was 3 hours because I just binged it. Now I'm waiting for an episode each fucking week. I work a 9-to-5 job, which I'm not too fond of. I have 2 things I look forward to every fucking week, True Detective and golf. Then sometimes I shoot a 93. So I only have True Detective to look forward to, and they just jerk me around and then don't fucking show me what I want to see. So I get pissed off and take it out on here. So I definitely agree with that. Now, I will definitely probably go back and rewatch this whole series and binge it. And I'll probably like it way more than watching it week to week. Watching shit week to week for our generation, if Jeff could quit making noise for a second so I can finish my point, is a fucking the worst thing you can fucking do. You gotta just binge shit, guys. You gotta binge shit. That's how Netflix does it, and that's probably why Netflix shows are the best shows going right now.
Yeah, it doesn't help when you have a whole week to build something up, and then it lets you down. Nate, anything you want to add to that? I don't know how you watched season 1. Did you watch it live, or did you watch it after it had come out in its entirety?
No, that's a really good point. As you were talking about that, I'd never thought about that before. But that's the same exact way that I watched season 1. Went through season 1, and then I was actually going to go on to season 2. And the consensus from you and everyone else I talked to is do not watch season 2. Literally, I felt people were afraid I was gonna die watching it, as adamant as they were for me not to watch it. I was like, it's a fucking TV show. Like, do not fucking watch it. It's a waste of your time. Like,
it's not like The Ring video. Like, don't fucking watch it.
It's like the girlfriend's like, don't do it, Sabrina. That dick will break your fucking heart. Trust me. Stay away from it.
Always goes out with him because he drives a motorcycle and she can change him.
So right. That's a really good point. Like Geiger was saying, the final episode for him was just like 3 hours long of 3 episodes put together. So it's kind of hard to disseminate from what's going on when you're binging. So it does have its pitfalls.
But I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't, because I can't not just sit on the sidelines while season 3 happens and then binge it all, because I'm a disgusting person. I'll spoil the whole fucking thing for myself on the internet.
Well, yeah, you can't stay off the internet for a month and a half, 2 months. So
yeah, there's no way around it.
Not possible.
All right, best scene, which really, we're just trying to get through to get to theories. Nate, what do you got?
So I think the best scene for me, and it's not necessarily, it was a fairly short scene, short-lived, and it wasn't really the acting or the interactions, but it was the tie back to season 1 when they're interviewing and she pulls up the website with the computer and shows the pictures of Harrelson and McConaughey. I just really feel like season 3 is trying so hard to be like season 1, and this goes back to what I just said a second ago, because season 2 was so shitty. I feel like it's funny because they're trying to tell the audience, hey, look at us, we're like season 1, the good season, we're like them, be like us.
Remember them?
Yeah, we're the golden child over here. We were like season 1. I just thought that was pretty funny because they're trying to tie it back into that so much, and they're making it fairly obvious that they're trying to distance themselves from season 2.
Yeah, that scene was badass. Geiger, how about you?
Present day, whenever the Brown, whatever, he keeps looking out the window and seeing that car, and Roland actually sees it too, and he goes out there with a fucking baseball bat, which is awesome, and Roland's like, it might just be a creeper boyfriend, and Roland gets the tags from it. I think that'll be a big part of it, and I'll touch on more of that in theories, but that was my favorite scene.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear your theory on that, because my main theory, how the fuck did Roland get behind the car? Like, what?
Did he army crawl up there? He's like 70 years old.
Yeah, maybe there's like a sewer that they know that comes out like later down the street.
The guy can barely walk straight unless it's to get him another fucking crown and coffee.
No, that's the best he's ever walked.
He went down to the sewer, had a pizza slice with Splinter, and popped up and took the picture.
I knew it's a connected universe. Fuck. They've been fucking hitting at it all season.
There it is.
My favorite scene,
Where's
I'm
Tatsu?
a sick person. It's the Harris James investigation.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I was at the point I was watching it with my fiance, and this is how I know I have serious problems. Way too early in the interrogation, I go, he's not going to give you anything, just kill him. And she's like, I don't know, they can maybe get information out of him. I'm like, it's a fucking lost cause. He's not going to talk. And he's seen too much.
He has.
You could have you can have the biggest pacifist ever, but if there's a scene where a guy endangered kids, I'm like, fucking kill him, kick his ass, Jim. Like, whoa, easy.
Tear his dick off.
I think partly Hayes like started to untie him, thinking like, all right, he's gonna reach for my gun, and then Roland's gonna have to fucking pop him in the head. It's a win-win. He dies, and the blood is on Roland's hands, almost literally.
Played into it the whole time. Used Tom against him.
Exactly.
And handcuffed the guy.
Roland's playing checkers. Hayes is playing chess.
Brian Banner's producing. He'll love this from Wild Wild West. It doesn't always have your thing where it's shoot first, shoot second, then once everyone's dead, you ask a question or two. That's like one of my favorite quotes from that movie.
And honorable mention, I'd like to throw this in for best scene, is when they are done burying Hayes, and Roland is
love that line.
Roland is just going off on him, and then he stops and say, "What? What are you gonna say, motherfucker?" And he's like, "I don't want to say it."
That one's great. Yeah.
I just want to know that I'm thinking it.
It's like when you about to say something about like your wife's mother, and you hold back, and she's like, "What? Say it."
Just know.
Is he gonna get an Emmy nom? Because he probably.
Dude, he might. I was thinking that too. I actually wrote, I don't know why I didn't fucking say this. There's no way to prove it now, but I wrote Steven Dorff for Emmy on acting, but I don't think I said.
We were talking about it earlier, and Jeff even said he might get an Emmy nom, and he should.
I hope so.
He's fantastic in this.
It's insane, dude. He's like David Tyree with that catch in the Super Bowl. You're like, who the fuck is that, and how did he just make that play?
I mean, everyone has their year, like Nick Foles. I mean, you just need your year.
All right, on to the best part of the show, which is our theories. Now, Dr. Brian Banner had a theory earlier in the season that is looking like most, if not all of it, will come to fruition. I just want to read this as a proxy for him on the show, and this can be a jumping off point for us. And then at the end, anything that's not answered, I have a couple questions I want to ask. So, Banner says, Hoyt is Julie's father. Harris knows. I think I agree with both of those. Tom finds out, as in Tom Purcell. Harris kills Tom. Keep in mind, all these predictions were over 2 weeks ago. So far, everything seems to check out to me. Hayes and Roland kill Harris. Allegedly is all I'll say to that. Hoyt has Amelia killed, which I also think is very true. And then at the very end, Ray Fisher, who is Hunter Hayes, will kill Hoyt in the final scene. How he predicted this 2 weeks ago, and not a single one of those things, to my knowledge, can be refuted right now with this show, is pretty fucking impressive.
So Banner texted to us, and I was just looking at this as like, oh my god, and especially with the final note that he puts on there, that Hunter kills Hoyt at the very end, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, because if he finds out Hoyt killed his mom, I mean, that would kind of be a motivator, right?
Yeah.
Ask Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah, and
as a close personal enemy to Brian Banner, I know that he has ins to Hollywood. He's in talks to be an extra in Bad Boys 3. So he knows what the fuck's going on in all those sets. That's why he fucking knows probably what this story is. And he just gave it away.
Well, yeah, so much for that background shot he had in Bad Boys 3. Because once you break an NDA, you're blackballed in Hollywood. We all know that. All right, Geiger, how do you want to do this? Do you want to ask your questions and Nate and I can either try to defend them, or it sounds like Nate is more on your side at this point.
I mean, I already asked the questions I want answered. Are we doing theories or just
let's play this game real quick. You ask your questions, and then Nate and I will say if we think there's a realistic chance that will be answered in the finale.
What happened to his wife?
Yes, 100%.
What happened to his daughter?
Probably 100%.
Yeah, as much as they're cock teasing us, especially with the opening scene of this episode, they've got to let us know what's going on with her.
Why does Roland act so weird in every time frame whenever he comes close to getting a big break in the case? He always acts weird.
Yeah, him and Tom were secretly lovers, and he's too close to the case.
Is that why he got rid of his fiance, because he's gay?
Yeah, that's going to be the ultimate reveal in the last episode, of course.
Okay.
See, I'm worried that we won't really get a definitive answer to that one. I think I kind of told you this earlier, Geiger. I think Roland just sees this case and Julie Purcell's disappearance as having ruined so many people's lives that he's like, let's just fucking stop, dude. Like, let's just die.
I want to see the scene whenever the kids leave and what actually happened at Devil's Den. I want to see that scene.
I really do too, and I'm worried we won't see that. I'd say 5% we see that.
But,
yeah, that's kind of a... I don't even know, honestly, if they're going to let us know who they were meeting in the woods. I I think they're hitting pretty
big. That's a big thing. I want to see them passing notes back and forth. I want to see what happens to the mom in Vegas. I want to see how Scoot McNairy dies. I want to see what happened in the pink room, what he saw in Julie. God damn it. Banner, show us. Don't tell us. What the fuck's going on with this goddamn show, Jeff?
And
all they're
sadly,
doing is telling us shit.
I think the only thing you just mentioned that we might literally see with our eyes is what happened in the pink room. And even that, I'm not too confident in.
Well, fuck, if I wanted to read a book, I'd pick up a book.
But we can't read, so it's not even an option.
I guess you're right.
Yeah, now that has me a little... I mean, I think you'll get answers to some of those, but I don't think we'll physically see them.
I would really love to see... One thing I'd love to see is what happened at Devil's Den that night, step by step. And why... I mean, how did the son die? I mean, there's a lot of questions that need to be answered in this finale.
I'm still convinced that Will dying was an accident. It was just kind of happenstance. They didn't meet him.
So who placed him there, and why is he in a church position praying? I want to know that too.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's one of the things that I've been frustrated with not knowing, and I don't even know if we'll know who they met in the woods. But what I was about to say earlier is I think they're hinting pretty hard that it's the two ghosts at Halloween.
Yeah.
And the dolls. How does the dolls connect to season 1? Does it connect to season 1? Why are the dolls important?
That's the thing where I feel like there might be some. I don't want to spoil season 1 because this is an anthology series for those who haven't seen it, but that is probably the most overt connection aside from them literally showing McConaughey and Harrelson, in a still image to season 1. There might be some loose connection there. One question I'm wondering, Nate, do you have a theory on, with the whole Will and Julie going into the woods situation? Let's assume, because I feel like of all theories, this one has the most foundation to it right now, that Hoyt is Julie's father and wanted to, I guess abduct her is kind of the loose word to use, in the woods. Did he also want to take Will, or was Will, like, did they have plans for him? Was he incidental, like, just collateral damage there? Like, what was Hoyt's plan for Will if him dying was an accident? Or maybe it wasn't.
Yeah, I still, kind of stand by the fact that I think Will's death was an accident. He was kind of collateral damage. I don't think Hoyt was expecting him to be there, perhaps, because if the theory is true that Hoyt is her father, then he would really have no use for Will. But there's still always the theory that there's a sex traffic ring that they're doing.
I wonder if they got, like, obviously they wouldn't tell them at all what the grand scheme of the plan is, but maybe they got Freddie Burns and his friends involved and tried to have him, like, separate Will from Julie so that they could just meet Julie in the woods, and somehow Freddie Burns, like, fucked that up.
Yeah, unless they just are literally throwing a ton of red herrings out there for us. Like, the whole Freddie Burns thing, has that got a tie-in somehow? I don't know.
Man, I don't know. That might be, I know Geiger would hate to say it now, but bringing it back, and if Freddie Burns is somehow involved with all this, that might be a way to sort of I don't want to say
okay, all I want is, if this is just basically that Hoyt is the daughter of Julie, I'm going to be pissed. Now, I want his wife involved somehow. I think his wife should be involved somehow. I think that she is the bad guy in this somehow.
So I thought that theory had a lot of meat and a lot of teeth a couple episodes ago. I don't know if it does anymore, but I still like the theory that she is killed by someone involved, maybe Hoyt or one of his henchmen, because they feel like she knows too much because she's written these books and she does all this research. And then that could be kind of the animosity that builds around her death that Hayes has because she was killed because of a case he was on. But I could definitely see that happening.
So I have a theory that the very end of the last episode is Hayes getting in the car with Hoyt. My theory is that Amelia dies that same day in the timeline, and it's a result of the conversation between Hayes and Hoyt. So whatever it is, either they make a deal or Hoyt kills Amelia just to let him know how serious he is, and hey, walk away from this case right now. Otherwise, your daughter's next. And then maybe I don't know what happens with Rebecca, but maybe she dies in present day or gets abducted because Hayes somehow picks the case back up again. And that could be a few years prior to the documentary filmmakers coming and meeting him.
I think that Hayes in present timeline is either in purgatory or he's in some type of Shutter Island thing where this is all in his fucking mind.
That was my original theory. I just totally backed away from it, but I still...
Yeah. I still think that's possible.
You brought that up, and I kind of held off on this because I know your favorite scene kind of was included in one of the scenes that I had that theory on, because him and Roland are together, and all of a sudden he's not.
Yeah.
So was Roland really there the whole time?
And how did he get behind the car? Like,
is he just imagining Roland's not there? And then, which brings us to what he sees when he finally gets to where he's going, and is what transitions us into the scene with him and 90 burning his shit after they killed Hayes. And again, the same thing from a couple episodes ago, whenever the door opens and Hayes looks over, when old Hayes opens it, he turns around when Hayes was standing there at the fence.
I know, dude. It's so fucking weird.
So this really plays into Geiger's theory here that he's in some purgatory, or it's all happening in his head, or I don't know if there's some fucking time jumping things going on here, but
I mean, I don't think True Detective would go like sci-fi or anything.
See,
like
I didn't think that either.
All right, I have two other quick ones. Who do we think was in the car out front of Hayes' house? Or playing off of that, I guess the rest of the scene, Nate, that you referenced, was any of that even real? Like, what do you think is more, should we be speculating on? Who was in the car, or just even the overall premise that none of that actually fucking happened?
So I feel like the car scene is real. I feel like
because the way the windows are tinted, I almost feel is like another form of symbolism. Or it could just be the director like, I don't want you to fucking see who's in the driver's seat.
It might be as simple as something as his son is there just keeping an eye on him, which I think that could be the ultimate reveal. It's his son kind of keeping a watchful eye over him. Because Roland even says that in that episode, saying, hey, we need someone there with him watching him. But regardless, he's been doing it for a week or so. But I think it could be as simple as it's his son in there.
Boy, Guy, you have any thoughts on that, or is our mind just in a fucking blender here?
I mean, in the car, I still think that he's in some type of hypnosis that he's just about to die, so his life's flashing before his eyes. And he's just, the only thing that he's holding on to is how he didn't solve the case. So I think maybe Julie Purcell's in the car.
Ooh, that'd be interesting.
Whoa.
Last one.
And she's going to open it and scream, why didn't you find me? Why didn't you find me? Why didn't you ever find me? And then he's going to die. And that's going to be chilling.
Jesus tits. All right, last question I have, and this one is kind of more insignificant, and I'm sure we'll find out in the next episode, but how the fuck does Hoyt know what happened to Harris James?
Yeah, I was kind of thinking about that.
Quickly after the fact, too.
I don't really know unless... I mean, there's multiple ways if he had people on his car or people watching him that they didn't show in the episode, but that's a really good question. I really don't have an answer to. I've been pondering on since Sunday.
I thought I had an answer to it, but since he knew it the very next day, obviously if he didn't show up to work for like 4 days, you're like, okay, he's probably dead. Who would have killed him? And he already has been tracking Hayes and Roland, but he knew like the very next morning, so I'm not really sure.
It's kind of funny because Hayes could be like, dude, if you already know what happened this quickly, like you would have known, you knew where he was. You could have just stopped him from being killed if you really cared. I'm
really wondering why Hayes is he seemed frightened when he called, and he's just like, what the fuck ever, man. And he left his family right there. That's very weird to me too.
Yeah, my only guess is Hoyt mentioned his kids, and Amelia still doesn't know what happened because obviously you have to eat a hearty breakfast first before you confess to a murder. So
Hoyt, please don't even talk to me until I have my coffee.
And not really a theory, but since you mentioned that scene with him and Amelia when they were talking, it's not really a theory. I just think there's going to be more revealed from that. She pretty much has that conversation and says that, hey, either one of us aren't being truthful with each other. So there's still some skeletons in her closet that I think are going to come out in the last episode for sure.
Geiger, what was the theory I had about her being in San Francisco? Oh, okay. Here we go.
She's
crazy. Yeah, craziest fucking theory I could ever possibly drop on you. All right. The Watt gentleman who shows up at her book reading and freaks out on her is actually Amelia's dad, and him and Isabel had a relationship, Hoyt's wife. So she's essentially like part of that family. She knows all about how fucked up they are. She ran away to San Francisco when she was about Julie's age, basically like shunned her stepfather in Hoyt, hated that family, came back now. She groomed Julie and Will to go and be kidnapped, and she's trying to use this to write the book and expose them once and for all. That's my theory.
Which really ties into Hoyt killing her.
There you go.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is it correct? Absolutely not. But on the very off chance that it is, I said it.
If you throw enough shit at the wall, some of it's going to stick.
Yeah, well, next week we'll just keep going on with theories because the show's just going to keep playing with our dicks and probably not do anything. So
cradle the balls.
All right. Good work, fellas. For the American hero, Nate Thurmond, and our enforcer in the paint, Matt Geiger, I'm the mayor, Jeff Hornacek. We have been the Bro Force Squad podcast. We got one more of these left, so if you thought Geiger was pissed off now, just wait till you see him next week if none of this shit gets answered. Actually, he might not even come on. He might just say, fuck it. Subscribe to us on iTunes, YouTube, and Spotify. Type in Bro Force Squad, 3 words. Follow us on Letterboxd. Check out all of our reviews. I'm the only one who does it because I'm awesome and it's awesome. It's a perfect marriage. Follow us on Twitter at Bro4Squad and check out everything that we are doing, all of our content, and our squad blog on our website, bro4squad.com. Till next time, we'll catch you for the finale.
You know who could solve this case? Batman, if Warner Brothers would ever fucking recast it.
All right, here we go again.
Quotes in middle school is one of my friends came up to me. He's like, I heard Vin Diesel was gay, and one of my other friends like, you just want him to be gay. I'm like, oh, okay.
The great thing about this is Banner will find somewhere to put this audio in. No one knows where yet.
This is the definition of a cold open in the dictionary.
It's already started off great. I'm just not jumping in.
This open is freezing dick. All right.
In action.